Happy Easter Monday! There's only one thing I want to be doing on this Easter Monday. It's not eating chocolate eggs, it's not going to church, it's racing some Fords. We're going to kick things off today with the Ford Mustang GT350. We of course bought it for this week's live weekly event. It's posed some interesting opportunities, some interesting challenges with everything that's kind of came around about that. And we're going to explore one particular race today over here on the Ibiza map. Before we get into that, guys, as always, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, please do leave a little like and consider subscribing. So I'm going to set a little challenge for today, a challenge to myself and perhaps a challenge to you guys that are watching today's content. And it's all around the one race that kind of posed a lot of opportunities here on Ibiza. Daily driver, supercar category, of course it is all around the Fords. And I'm going to kick things off in this very car, the Mustang GT350, and see what kind of time we can set. Of course, the initial time we set, it was just a benchmark. But I'm going to head on over in towards Midnight Movers. It's a 3-mile domination race. Of course, it's dry. It's, like we mentioned, in the Ford Daily Driver or Supercar category, 500 to 650 RP. So we can basically use most Fords that we've got in our garage already. We can already see the leaderboard is fantastically open. 2-minute 1 is the top two times once again. Bollenworld and GR Picuvius. Asayuno just behind her with the 201.89. So all top three, interestingly, in the Shelby GT500. Not a car I've got in the garage just yet. Jason there in the GT40. We've got GT350s, more GT500s, the original, or the 2006, sorry, Ford GT. And that kind of props up the top 10. And we can see quite an open time there of 2 minutes and 10 to reach the top 10. Now, not so many GT350Rs up in the top 10. We can see it is kind of focused around about that Shelby GT500, but it's not a car I've got. I kind of want to see what time we can achieve in the 350 first of all. We can see my initial time down at 2 minutes 23 in the GT350R. But I've obviously went away, put a little bit of a tune together. I want to see what kind of time we can target. Are we really looking up towards the top 3, that 2-minute 1? Or are we just looking up towards the top 10 with a 2-minute and 10? So we can see we're heading off the grid here. Fantastic. Always good to get a good starting point first of all. We're going to see what kind of time we can do here. Now, I had a little bit of an issue with tuning this one. Second gear is very useless. Regardless of what I did with the tune, I couldn't really get a good ratio essentially in second gear, whether it was maxing it towards acceleration or maxing it towards top end. I didn't like how second gear set up in this car, but I'm not going to let it distract us all too much like the frame rates. Going to try cutting to the left here a little bit, thinking, you know, maybe if we cut out that little bit of section, we don't have to go around the left-hander at the top there. Are we going to be a little bit quicker? We'll try that one out for this attempt here. As we come through the little tight overextended chicane essentially there, trying to negotiate our way around the lamppost, not making the best of attempts with a fantastic little backfire there in the 350. Now the tune we've kind of got applied here, or the parts we've got applied, we have got a turbocharger, we have got a decent exhaust system, but not too much we can do in terms of upgrades due to the RP. So I don't really think it's going to matter all too much whether you go for turbochargers and power or whether you go towards a short gearbox and lightening the car. I think we're all going to end up with relatively similar times. That's kind of amplified with the results we've got on the leaderboard so far. Coming through the big fast left corners here into a heavy braking zone, we do manage just to stop in time. Back end is a little bit unpredictable in this thing, but that's only natural with a 500 horsepower American muscle car. Managing to cut through the little left-hander there between the tree and the lamppost like we did on the initial video, nice and tight through that little section there as we try to straighten up, missing all of that street furniture. So far it feels like we're putting together a relatively good time, but hampering ourselves, hitting the little plant pot on the right hand side once again through the left-hander, managing to miss those plant pots this time out, getting ready for the right-hander here, trying to keep that back end in check, getting the power back down. Now we know we can cut across the field here, but we need to be cautious. The cars will become very unsettled. Smack our way through the bushes there. We may actually be quicker staying to the right hand side, opening up this left-hander, maybe carrying a little bit more speed there. Feels like we have left a fair bit of time on the table here with the 350, but as I said, I couldn't really get the best of tunes out of the gearbox. We'll see what kind of time we do cross the line with, where we do manage to place on that leaderboard overall, and we do miss the top 10. 2 minutes 11.35 in the 350R. I've got to be honest guys, it wasn't my favourite car to use under 650 RP. It might just be the parts I've got applied, or maybe the tune just isn't good enough. But I think there's a car that's going to be much better than it. It's of course going to be one of my favourite cars in game, the 2006 Ford GT. Again, down to 650 RP, this thing is an absolute weapon. If you don't have this in your garage, you are missing out. I know this obviously came from the gold edition of the game, but this thing is an absolute monster regardless of what RP it is kind of restricting itself to. Flying into the early corners here, brake are so predictable. This time I'm going to stick it to the right hand side, come around the tree there. I don't know if you're actually going to save all too much time cutting through that one, you know, trying to save some time on track. I really don't think you're going to save all too much time. You're probably just as quick as to go around that tree. Back through the chicane, taking out those lampposts, again ticking it off the bingo card, always smashing out lampposts here. But we can see already this thing feels so much quicker than the Mustang did. Carrying a little bit too much speed into that right-hander. Hopefully it's not going to punish us all too much. Up into our first proper heavy braking zone here. Can we get that one right? Keeping it in second gear so we can get the traction coming out of the corner. Feels like we got that one right overall. As we head up to this flying section, we want to stay flat out. Do not lift at all. Fully committing, having to lift, unfortunately the back end stepping out, dropping down to third gear, carrying as much speed as we can, back into a crucial braking zone, drop it down into first gear, back up into second, trying to keep that back end in check. Feels like we carried enough speed around there, into the left-hander again, trying to cut it through the tree and the lamppost. Feels like we never lost too much time there actually taking out the lamppost, so that's all good. Nice dive through the right-hander there, downhill. Get ready for the next right-hander here, where we're going to have to be cautious of those plant pots. We go wider this time, so that feels like we carried a little bit more momentum this time out. Downhill again, left-hander, keeping away from the plant pots, back onto the power in second gear again, trying to keep the traction there. Probably could have carried a little bit more speed through that little right-hander there, but again, we're going to get ready, cut across the track just a little bit here. The Ford is very stiff, so we've got to be patient. Back onto the throttle. Staying to the right hand side, we can see it has opened up that left-hander much wider this time. Feels like we've carried a hell of a lot more time that time, guys. We've carried a lot more speed. I think we're going to have a much better time on the leaderboard this time out as we do cross that start-finish line once again in the 2006 Ford GT. Where do we place on that leaderboard? Well, first of all, we have completed this week's live weekly events. All 150 points collected. We have now got that 61 Stang anniversary livery, but that leaderboard up into 8th place. 2 minutes 8:56, 200th of a second faster than Pavlos. That's fantastically close. I love to see it. Unfortunately, we're down in 8th and 9th place. We're not in 1st and 2nd like Ballenwald and Paku, but 200ths of a second between 8th and 9th place in the 2006 Ford GT. That's absolutely fantastic. That's what I love to see. Now, looking ahead of us, it is only GT500 Mustangs Mark 1 GT40. There's only one of them, so it does look like, oh, there is one GT350R, so it does look like it's quite an open leaderboard, but that GT500 does look to be the car for this event. I might go and buy it and come back and visit this again. If that's something you guys want to see, let me know in the comments. But a very eclectic mix of cars, a very eclectic mix of racers in that top 10 of the leaderboard. But having a look at the livery, we'll come over into the garage, into the appearance here, and we can see that livery is now available. And it looks good. Let's chuck it on, let's dive back outside, and we'll see what this livery looks like in person. And I think you guys will all agree, that livery looks absolutely fantastic. Well worth the grind this week. Well worth the 15 race wins. It's not much of a grind realistically, but that livery looks absolutely fantastic. I want to see more of this in game. I actually think this is the best livery that has been released so far that I've personally looked at. Much better than the ones for the Nissan GTR, in my opinion. You guys let me know in the comment section, what do you think of this week's livery for the Mustang? Personally, I think it's fantastic. The only change I would like to see is it's perhaps available on the GT350R. I would like to use it across all the Mustangs I've got, let's be honest. But as it is, good changes. Nice blue interior, or blue seats in this one as well. So I never shared the tunes this week, guys. Essentially, I didn't like the tune for the GT350R, so I didn't think there was any purpose in sharing that. And as for the Mustang, the GT the Ford GT 2006. Can't get my words out here. I've shared it previously. You can go back into the videos and check that one out for the Mustang, for the Ford GT. I've shared that before, so there's no point really going over it again. But a fantastic weekly event. I think I am going to go and buy that GT 350. Sorry, that Mustang GT 500, and have another crack at that leaderboard, guys. But I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Sorry, I couldn't get my words out cleanly enough. If you haven't already, please do smash up the like button and subscribe. Stay tuned for more updates on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown.